We have come here to the Audi Heartland at the Audi Forum in Ingolstadt to show you this one here, the new Audi RS5 Coupé. It has been exactly 4 years since we've been here for the very first time with the premiere, the world premiere of this all-new A5 generation. At that time, this place was packed full of people, almost 1,000 people, and we were there for you at the world premiere. Today we have this so-called Audi Piazza all on our own for our review in exterior, interior and the performance driving experience. Here on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Thomas with the reporting, Jonas with the camera work and everything of that. Please enjoy now in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. The whole Audi A5 range has been facelifted recently, so if you're just interested in a normal version, you will also gather a lot of important information here with this review today. Or maybe you check out the RS5, dream of that, and then go for a base A5 Coupé or Sportback or something. That could be a solution. Well, but here the RS5 Coupé has this really menacing front grille. In general, the grille has been made wider, and also you can see the honeycomb structure here with the high gloss black. And then this Quattro citations from the former Quattro models. And this is also then equipped with the RS design package, also with carbon fiber. So we have a carbon fiber lower spoiler lip right here, high gloss black right there. And the headlamps, they would come standard already with matrix LED for the RS5, but then optional, yeah, they always offer something optional. Then there's optional the laser light, you can see here. And when you pick that one, you also have the dark background, this dark tinting, and this is of course even more impressive. And you've already seen it in the intro. There's a very impressive light signature both in the front and in the rear. 4.72 m, 15'5" or 186 inches is the length of the Audi RS5 Coupé. Today I'm entering from this side. You can also get it as the Sportback when you rather want 5 doors instead of the 3 or 5 doors or 2 or 4 doors. It always depends if you count the rear hatch as a door or not. Yeah, but back here to our Coupé for today. You start with 19-inch wheels. Optional these 20-inch turbine wheels in the black style, of course even darker look. Then you have the RS5 badge right there. This one, said it earlier, with the optional carbon fiber package. So you have here the carbon fiber mirrors, also carbon fiber lower spoiler at this side. And this is also equipped with the carbon fiber roof. Yeah, you know, for weight savings and so on, right? Yeah, so... if you have a little bit more money to spare, of course. Then also another option is in the front we have the ceramic brake. This is about 6,000 euros extra. Yeah, but next to that, such a beautiful vehicle. Look at that. The styling here in the rear, round coupe style and massive strong shoulders. So, but on the other hand, it's not so complicated design, so the simplicity still makes it beautiful. A very impressive rear. Well, some say that the A5 is one of the most beautiful cars with Audi, and I think I have to agree. Even though, you know, you can argue about if it's even more beautiful in an elegant style or if it's cooler in a sporty style. Looking forward to your comment. Here the RS5, there's the badge right there. Then we also have the additional carbon fiber package. So this lip, you always get this lip, but then here also in carbon fiber, and as well here the strong lower end here with the carbon fiber. You already get a sports exhaust with the RS5, but optional for 1,200 euros you can get this optional sports exhaust. then with a high gloss black, and you can see the valve on the inside. You already had the sound preview here in our intro, which sounded quite interesting. And when you take a look inside, you can literally see the valve flipping. The Audi RS5 features a 2.9-liter V6 biturbo with 450 horsepower. 3.9 seconds is the acceleration figure, 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. And with a very nice engine bay here, everything fully packed. Oh yeah, and if you want this here, the carbon fiber cover, yet another 500 euros. This is the car key, slim and light, high class. RS badge here at the side. Door closing sound. Still very good, although it's a frameless door. Typical coupe style. Inside of the doors we have nice Alcantara surfacing here. And then carbon fiber inlets and soft touch at the top part of the door. Nice clicking sound for the buttons. Way to go. Optional B&O sound system, 19 speakers for a nice sound. Then RS Alcantara steering wheel we have here with the flat bottom. That's a beautiful job and great grip, great size and everything. More carbon fiber inserts right here. Soft touch also at the top dashboard. Virtual cockpit. It still starts with analog instruments. Optional this then. Soon more details to that definitely. With the facelift, upgraded infotainment system, and we'll take a detailed look at that very soon. Seats here, you get RS sports seats, integrated head restraint. Usually they would start with Alcantara. That's of course then way to go as well, because they keep cooler in summer and are warmer in winter times. This is the optional animal skin pack, and especially this quilting that looks quite fancy, but in combination with a slick animal skin surface, it really reduces the comfort on long-term travels. I've experienced that quite a lot of times. However, overall, this mid-size style is still a very good compromise between sportiness and comfort. So the seat form itself is good, gives you good support here, and it's not too long on the exterior, this mid-size segment, but you already have a lot of comfort on the interior, even on longer journeys. So if you compare it also to the compact size cars, here, when you're a little bit taller like me, 1m86 or 6'1", you already get good comfort. The A5 is, of course, a rather flat car, but here I still have some headroom left, so I can find a good seating position, manual control here of the steering wheel with a nice smooth process and so on. So I really feel cozy, really feel at home here. It does feel a little sportier than in the platform brother, the Audi A4, because already the A pillar is a little bit flatter. And since we sit here pretty close to the ground, let me tell you something about suspension. Either you get a stiff fixed sports suspension as base, or the optional DRC, dynamic ride control, and that then is not an adaptive suspension either, but you have 3 different stiffness modes, so to say. So that's a big difference to the Audi S5, which you can get with the adaptive suspension. So the RS5 definitely doesn't seek so much the compromise between sportiness and comfort, but really goes in the straight sporty direction. Now the interior overview. You can see here the big news in general with all A5 facelift is the new 10.1-inch screen. So this is then also via touch, and it's also easily accessible. Yeah, while driving, of course, you shouldn't look at that too much, but since it's very close to you, that's the thing. It looks popped on that, but then again, the advantage is that you can easily access it. Soon more details to that. The MMI knob in the lower part is gone then, because they set it all then on the touch. You can argue about that, what's the best way then. Both have arguments for that. Once again, the Alcantara steering wheel, a beautiful piece and the perfect size. I think to me this is actually a perfect steering wheel. A little situation there, control system on the inside, such a good grip and such a great feeling. And we have the optional virtual cockpit, 5.1 inch, a small screen with analog gauges would be standard. These here 12.3 inch optional digital instruments or virtual cockpit, soon more to that. We have the shifting pedals here with a gap in between, high class, really good stuff, and also give you good feedback. On the steering wheel, we either zoom in and out of the map of the virtual cockpit, we can control what we want to see, change the view and so on. On the right side, we have the volume control, some kind of a voice input, but not a natural one yet. And there's the RS mode button. And when I hit that one, it's easy to change the driving modes while driving. And I can actually then change between a normal driving mode, but I can also actually set how I want to have the RS modes 1 and 2 in the main menu. I can soon show that to you. Rest of the interior, really high class. Again, the carbon fiber decal element, quattro sign, because this car, remember, it is all-wheel drive with a rear wheel bias. Then my favorite overall in the automotive industry, climate unit. So this is, by the way, not the base A5 climate unit. It's also, let's say, a sophisticated climate unit. You can go for optional. And then with a nice clicking sound. So great. I really don't want to see these ones that disappear from the automotive industry. What's your take on that? In the middle part, this is with some capacitive buttons on the one hand, but the upper part is reacting. But then you can really press them to change the features each. Drive select is in the lower part, a little bit hidden. But then again, you would rather do that with the RS driving modes in this car. I can show that to you in detail very soon. The lower part, you don't have too much space for your smartphone. It can fly around a little bit, so there might be an idea to put them in the cup holder then, for example, like this. USB-A charger in the front and also the connection then to the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Then there's a new cubby hole right here, like this. And the shifting lever here for the converter automatic gearbox is also covered with the microfiber. And we still have a manual volume knob right here. And the red armrest cover, when we put that up, there's then a USB-C charger now for additional smartphone or for your microphone equipment while reviewing. And now the screen details. And this is a great overview because it's so simple. And you can also, by the way, change something. For example, the Apple CarPlay is at the moment here. And when I hold this one here, I can, like in the smartphone, for example, I can change where it is actually appearing. So let's say I want to have it right here. And there we go, done. And then I have it on the first screen instead of the radio. That would be, for example, better for me. That's the first thing I want to reach. And here, the closest to the steering wheel. So that's how I would do that actually. And then you can also change what's, for example, here on the left side. Can, for example, say that I want to have the GPS hotkey on the left side on the upper part. This would also be possible. So a lot of possibilities you have here. Why not? Then here in the car settings, there is the Audi Drive Select, for example. And then you can here have the basic driving modes, but then also the RS modes. And in this case, for example, I have put the RS1 mode over to some dynamic features, but then here the DRC, this optional suspension, you can set in 3 different stiffness modes, but it's not adapting in an adaptive, not acting in an adaptive way. So, but 3 different settings, and then they're like this. So, steering balance, for example, engine sound already more, and then the RS2 mode I have set to all the way sporty, 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 sporty. This is one setting you could, for example, use for that. The GPS has a very good view. We're here in Audi, at the Audi headquarters. This is like, this is all Audi basically here. It's responsive enough, gives you a good view, very nice. And last but not least, the Apple CarPlay integration. It looks like this. And we can also listen to Brian Kearney. And the B&O sound system, 19 speakers. Gives a very nice surround sound. So satisfied with that. You can see the integration goes all over the display like this, and then we can also go back to the Audi MMI. Here, this digital instrument, you can actually pick what you want to see here. For example, also the map. There's already this sportier gauge, and then you can also switch to view that you have the map all over the place. And when you go to the RS modes, they also be here, for example, with the G meter.
but you can also individualize everything you want to have here.
Well, you can expect there's not so much legroom in the rear left. If you want rear passengers, you rather go for the A5 Sportback, or here also for the RS5 Sportback. But since you want to put a comment with a time code, Thomas in the back seat, I will do you the favor. So you can get this strap here and then push it forward electrically. That's of course a good solution, like this, and then you can also get inside. The question is just about the legroom, and I mean, I need to, well, first of all, you can actually see how it's like here. It's actually quite cozy when it's a little bit, caged in. Headroom wise, I mean, when I sit with a relaxed spine, that does work. However, when I put my spine up a little bit, then I do hit the ceiling, but still somewhat okay. But again, you would go for the Sportback. 2 single seats. Then we also have cup holders here. They are also cubby hole here, and then they are also adaptive. There we go. So here, left and right, single to put in and out. You can also use this one here as a ski hatch, probably from here. That's possible. And you even have rear climate unit optional, USB-A chargers, and a rear seating unit. That's actually quite good. But now about the legroom. So here, I would need to put the seat all the way back, really, that I can still drive. And I mean, yeah, I think that way it would work. So really, really gets very close. And I think I could still drive like this. That should be possible. On the other side, I have set the seat all the way to the front. So let's say it's easier to drive this car with 3 tall adults, because when you move to the other side, I have set the seat that I could still definitely sit in the front as a co-passenger. Yeah. Yeah, and that exactly works. So, yeah, 3.5 tall adults for this car. As for the trunk, it's of course easier to access when you have the Sportback version, but here in the Coupé, still quite okay. You can see here we also put 2 suitcases here, and it is actually possible to put it over each other. So that's actually a good surprise, I would say. Why not? And then let's put them out, and we can also show you something more, how it looks like empty. Below this cover you still have some more space, like this. It's just a car battery in the rear. Then you can flip the seats. Here, this is for the left side. It doesn't move down automatically. And then this is for the right side. And this is a little bit, irritating. This is then here for the middle ski hatch part, and that one flips down automatically. For the other ones, you have to go, to the rear and flip them, or you push it with the luggage you're putting in. Here, the normal length here to the rear seat is about 106 centimeters, and the width here is a little bit less than a meter, and the total height right here about 50 centimeters, and the loading sill about 70 centimeters. Now when I go around and also flip the rest of the seats right here, then you have a good impression of the maximum volume. And the length in here is actually quite decent, the total length, because from here to the seat as I would be driving is about 1.80 meters.
Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Audi RS5 Coupé, and welcome to the German motorway. We'll get onto the motorway. I'll put it in the RS2 mode, make it sporty as possible. We do have the all-wheel drive, the quattro with the rear wheel bias, so a little bit more rear wheel torque right there, and the more I hit the throttle, more will be transport on the front wheels. That's of course also a safety aspect, because here the road is also a little bit wet, but this will keep us safe. We start from 40 kilometers now, and let's go. Plop, that's 160 already. That went quick, and due to the all-wheel drive, also a nice distribution, so a very smooth acceleration. It was very powerful but smooth at the same time, and in perfect control of the vehicle. So yes, a rear-wheel drive only will be let's say, more extreme or something, you know, but this one here then always more controlled. But since this is the classic all-wheel drive, not the Quattro Ultra, here again rear bias, converter automatic gearbox, and I really like to have that instead of the front plus rear with the dual clutch transmission. And what's also cool is, you know, as soon as you go off the RS mode, here in the comfort mode, car shifts up, and here at about 130, 140 kilometers an hour, which is about 80, 85 miles an hour. So silent in this vehicle, has a great wind coefficient. So, I mean, everything goes very streamlined, so silent, one of the most silent cars in the mid-size segment. And that's also relaxing in a way, you know. So this car is sporty and relaxing at the same time, so to say, but of course suspension is only relaxing when it's here a very well-built Autobahn. Then it's actually fine, you know, then you don't feel that we have a fixed stiff suspension. However, here in the normal mode, I have said that it just, you know, is in the plain most comfortable of the three settings. And in the RS modes then, I've put it to the stiffer setting, and then you feel, even if there's no like potholes, some waves in the road, it's like brr, 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 brr. Maybe, you know, on camera. So it's really a notable difference you feel there. You have, of course, then a little bit more connection to the road, but yet again, suspension-wise, I would really leave it in the most comfortable setting. That's still okay, and especially when you're like rolling in traffic like this, that's then, in this case, still a good compromise of sportiness and comfort. What's that? Interesting covers there. So always interesting things to see here on the motorway, and I know especially from when you're from a country where it's not possible to drive all the way free. This, for example, a motorway part where it is actually possible to drive unlimited speed, but you see, you always need the according traffic, and that's not always the case. To me, the most important thing is always keeping the distance to the car in front of you when driving fast. That's the most important thing. I feel sometimes it's even safer to hit the left lane, drive a good speed, and then stay there, and, you know, even if you drive a little bit faster, then to switch lanes back and forth. That's sometimes more dangerous, I think. So now we can accelerate further. And that's 200 kilometers or 125 miles an hour, and how stable the car is still and how silent it is considering still in here. That's really amazing. And I have perfect control of the vehicle. Of course, again, safety first. Always check if there's someone, you know, you need to anticipate. That guy may be switching to the left lane and is driving slower, and then you have to pay attention, brake in advance. That's why, and also, you know, like the, you know, you cannot underestimate how important keeping a proper distance is at that speed. You need to have that distance, and, you know, don't let anyone else tell you something, or when people are going in, then just keep another good distance. That's so important here when driving in higher speeds. And I'm really amazed that, you know, it's not the biggest car, it has not the longest wheelbase, but how sovereign it is already on the road. That's just such a great feeling. And I feel it really drives better with the softest suspension setting. I think it feels, let's say, better and safer and more connected to the road, actually. I mean, you can say the stiffer it is, the more connected it is to the road, but I feel you have a better, sporty handling also when the suspension is a little bit less stiff, because it more adapts to the road in a way. So I like the softest suspension setting here best, and it's already more than sporty enough, no doubt. If I do a lane change here, by the way, at 180 kilometers an hour, look at how easy and stable the car remains. Just so flawless. So it's such a great ride in this vehicle, and also definitely more fun than you would go a segment above with the bigger, like, you know, like an RS6 or RS7, which are also awesome vehicles, no doubt, but this one definitely is more fun to drive. Yes, the segment below that is, you can say in a way, because of the smaller segment, like RS3 or something, could also be more agile when you're like on a tight track or something. Yet again, you lose comfort because you don't have so much space on the interior. And to me, as a tall person, I always have more comfort in the mid-size segment vehicles than in the compact cars. So for having the most fun and yet already having comfort, this then here, you know, this size would be my pick. Although I have to say, I think I would be totally happy then with the S5 already. But yet again, in the DRC most comfortable setting, so to say, I think that's still, still fine by me. Now here the speed is being reduced, and then you feel how silent it is here actually at 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. It's pretty cool. It's interesting that hardly ever happens on the German motorway. This sign here that the right lane is for trucks and the left lane for motorcycles and normal cars. So it's not a common thing to see that they do that. It's rather natural order which people usually do by themselves. But not that it's now happening a lot that you see this big sign indicating that. So, and since at the moment we cannot accelerate further out, let's set the cruise control. You can of course also get an adaptive cruise control, which is not the case in here, and that's of course a thing. I mean, this car here starts at 80,000 euros and does not include an adaptive cruise control. Seriously? That's disappointing, definitely. Other than that, what it has here, but also an option, is the blind spot monitor. But it's so hard to show you that in an Audi RS5 because you need people overtaking you for that. And that hardly happens. I can tell you, it will appear light in the side mirror as a very nice integration for that and a good feature to have. Although here with the Coupé style, there's no such a blocking view over the shoulder, still a good feature to have. At least the AEB autonomous emergency brake, that is at least standard in this vehicle, and yeah, I'm glad it is. It's also one of the most important features. The overall visibility is actually quite good, also to the rear, and again, as I told you, with Coupé or convertible styles, you also have good side views, and this is still a car you can take it as an everyday driver, no problem. And then just adjust. If you want a little bit more comfort but still sportiness, go for the S5. If you want most comfort and pay less money, go for the A5. And then this one in here for the sportiest touch. And if you're really a good leasing rate to spare, or of course buying this car with without leasing, yeah, we checked the option list here, and I'll tell you the final price then in the conclusion. This will hurt. And now to some city driving. How is it performing there, and also what about the comfort as for this respect? So when the road is even, you of course already feel the suspension is stiffer, but it's still decently comfortable because of this mid-size character. That's always a good thing, when you compare like real sports cars from a body style to very sporty cars. You can also call it sports cars, but that are built on normal cars, would say, which is the case. Then he needs traffic light jumping to red suddenly. Then the ceramic brakes are also being applied, and here in this case, I think you have a very good feeling in the brake pedal for them as well. So back to my point is that I really like it when they take base cars and make sports cars out of it, because they just deliver you a little bit more comfort, and that's definitely good then also for everyday driving life. And I mean, even if you are in the comfort mode here, of course the gears are being shifted a little bit faster than, for example, but then you still have a very sporty driving feeling here, and just press the throttle here and you're gone, and even in the comfort mode you have a slower sound than from this exhaust, and you don't always have to use the RS mode. You can also then pick in the drive select, for example, the dynamic mode that is already a little bit more giving you the boost, and in the S shifting mode, for example, you can also leave it in the auto or comfort mode and then use the shifting lever to go to the S shifting mode, that is going again for this sportier shifting up later and shifting down earlier, or then again use the shifting pedals here if you want to do some overtaking or something. And just these everyday driving corners here, left side, I'm not crossing the light with the red light, by the way, because the right green arrow was giving me the way. It's so much fun. This car is so great in the handling. The steering is so precise, one of the best steerings there is. There's no dead zone area, and Car is not leaning at all. Wow, this is so smooth. You can drive a perfect slalom. It's like imagine a line in your head and the car automatically follows that. That's really very, very cool. So it is a lot of fun to drive this car in everyday driving life as well. And the suspension is of course stiff, you notice that, but it only gets uncomfortable when you're here, then you're like over some sewage systems cover or some potholes and so on. And however, in the most comfortable setting of these 3 fixed settings of this DRC, it's still somewhat okay. But in the stiffest one, yeah, that gets really rough then. However, if you want more compromise between sportiness and comfort, then you would go for the S model, the S5, and not for the RS5. This is when you want to sporty it out the max. So again, the handling and the steering, I think, is the best one. And this mid-size car concept, once again, is a nice thing in between. You already have a little bit more space and comfort, but the car still feels lighter and more agile than, for example, when you imagine an RS6 or an RS7, which is just heavier and bigger and so on. The wheelbase is longer. This one here still feels so agile then, pretty cool. And also, if you want, it's really calm just when cruising around the city because of the great noise insulation and so on. And the sound is also rather subtle when you keep it here and here in the comfort mode. Of course, this one is then different again when you pick it in the RS modes which you can then individualize. But I always feel like just doing another slalom, that's probably also one of the things this car is actually best at. Nevertheless, you've seen on the motorway is also actually good for just running straight and even at higher speeds. When you compare it to the competitors, I've still found it a little bit more comfortable than the 63 models by AMG. In this case would be C63, so a little bit more balanced, I think. And the all-new M3 will of course be coming up on Autogefühl here as well. If you watch this video here at a later stage, so later after it was published, then maybe it's already online, that video, and you can also put it in the YouTube search. If you, by the way, searching for any review, always use YouTube search Autogefühl BMW 3 Series, also, to compare something. You can always do that. A countryside route, and I just want to show you, even if you are in a comfort mode and hit the throttle, let's see how the car does that. We are in the 8th gear. I will go from 60 kilometers now. Let's see how the shifting is being done and how fast it's picking up, even if we are in comfort mode in 8th gear. Let's go. Plop, that's 100. So you saw how it switched back to the 3rd gear then. So it went quite quickly. Of course, you get a better response even when you shift down yourself before or when you are in the S shifting mode. But you've seen it doesn't take too long to think about, oh, well, what should I do now? How long do I shift back and so on? So let's do now 50 to 80 in the S shifting mode. Plop, that's it. So you saw that has a little bit better reaction right there in this case. But even better, of course, when I'm in the RS modes, here the RS2 mode, that would be the stiffest one. But in this case, when there's already the S shifting mode, then basically that's it. The RS modes, you've seen the settings before, they change the rest of the parameters then that you haven't changed. So, and let's shift back manual ourselves, and then of course it's an even better reaction. Seen, that was instantaneously. So if you want the best reaction, then just shift down yourself before, and you have these shifting pedals. They give you a great feedback, really nice to use, and you also have more sound feedback and so on. And about the fuel consumption, when you really keep it calm or like cruise control motorway and so on, you can score some decent consumption figures, like 8 liters on 100 kilometers, so would be about 29 mpg, 35 mpg UK, 29 for US. So that's really, pretty decent for this car. However, it is very sensitive to more throttle input. Of course, it's with every vehicle, but here especially, and also very sensitive to city driving, especially when the engine is still cold. That's also, again, a problem with every combustion engine. But here we notice that then the consumption really goes very high. Then it's like a 2 digits, like way more than 10 liters on 100 kilometers, and then would be just like slightly over 20 mpg.
And now to our conclusion for today with the Audi RS5 Coupé. I think it has been quite a nice change to have this one here as a shooting location. I hope you enjoyed all the shots we had here for you today, and of course the information as always. Exterior-wise, such a stunning vehicle with this dark sporty look, especially with the optional design packages we had here today. As a coupe, but also as a sportback, as it's also available here as the RS5 Sportback. So if you want it a little bit more practical, you would go for the Sportback. The better compromise between sportiness and comfort is definitely the S version, the S5. Maybe as a convertible, that would actually be my personal choice, because I like the better, compromise between sportiness and comfort. Here the RS5 really goes in that very sporty direction, especially suspension-wise, since no adaptive suspension is available here. However, when the road is still good, it was also reasonable here, because at least even though the suspension here is not adaptive, the optional one, you can set it to these 3 different levels, fixed levels done. Interior-wise, it's a very high build quality. Sadly, not so much animal skin alternatives in the higher specs. Well, at least you can also get the Alcantara seat with, let's say, the main Alcantara share. That would be the seat to go then here. I really like this mid-size segment because it's not too long on the exterior, but you already have a good long-term traveling comfort on the interior. That's, I think, the specialty of this very segment. When you go a little bit bigger, then you lose something of the handling. Here, the handling is still so crisp and precise. It's just a pleasure to drive this one in a sporty way. And of course, abundance of power there. So what do you think here about our driving experience and the presentation of the RS5 Coupé? We will, of course, keep you, entertained with some other versions here, sporty Audi models. We have a lot of our channel already. In the video description or the pinned comment, we will link you some interesting other videos related to this one here. Well, and then what to criticize? Yeah, it's just about the price. So we were talking about that yesterday, before I took another look at the price. They wait a minute, a normal A5 is about 40k when you put something in there, and usually the top models are double the price than the entry model, so about 80k. Yeah, that was correct. So this one starts at about 80,000 euros or dollars. But then again, if you think about carbon ceramic brakes, RS design, dynamic pack, optional sports exhaust, carbon blah blah blah, carbon fiber roof. This car, as it stands here right now, 120,000 euros. That's hardly bearable for a mid-size segment. Yeah, so better you just scroll back to the beginning and enjoy the video, and you don't have to spend so much money. Thank you again for watching today, and see you next time.